What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, we got some unfortunate news and some very, very interesting news as 4-division world champion Mexican superstar boxer Mikey Garcia, 40 wins, 1 loss, no draws, 30 wins by way of knockout. Mikey Garcia is 33 years of age, stands at 5'6" with a 68-inch arm reach. Last time we saw him in the ring was February of 2020 when he took on the defeated Jesse Vargas via unanimous decision. With that said, we know that Mikey Garcia had entered negotiations for a mega showdown for himself and legendary 8-division world champion, iconic Filipino superstar boxer Manny Pacquiao. That was in talks, okay? Mikey Garcia, as I told you guys, Mikey Garcia, he stated on two or three separate occasions that they were in deep negotiations, but Manny Pacquiao has sent over Mikey Garcia a contract that Mikey Garcia did not like, okay? Manny Pacquiao was removed as the WBA super champion after defeating former unified welterweight world champion superstar boxer Keith One-Time Thurman July of 2019, okay? The WBA cited Manny Pacquiao inactivity since then and not fighting a guy in the top 10 of their ranking system. They saw him removed from the WBA super champion. They elevated Cuban star boxer, who was the WBA regular champion, Yordenis Ugas, to super champion. With that said, this is very, very interesting, right? Because the WBA, they didn't reinstate Manny Pacquiao to the shocking news that he's going to face undefeated, unified WBC, IBF, welterweight world champion, superstar boxer, who is widely considered to be top 3 pound-for-pound best fighters in the world in Errol Spence Jr. Manny Pacquiao, Errol Spence Jr., that news came out of nowhere. Nobody expected that to be announced, and it was just announced. As we know, Manny Pacquiao, he was also in negotiations with undefeated 3-division world champion, former junior welterweight undisputed world champion, currently the WBO welterweight world champion, who is widely considered by many to be the number 1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world in Terrence Bud Crawford. So, with that said, that fell through. As we know, legendary promoter, top-ranked CEO and promoter, Bob Arum, he stated that they just didn't see the gain for the output, okay? They didn't think they could get a return on their investment putting this money up for a Manny Pacquiao fight. And the investment group in Abu Dhabi, they decided to back out. So they didn't see the worth in putting the money up for the guaranteed purse for Manny Pacquiao and Terrence Crawford. And they didn't believe they could get a return on their investment. So Bob Arum essentially let us know that top-ranked ESPN, they backed out, okay? And didn't give Terrence Crawford the fight he was looking for and seeking for the better part of 6 years, okay? So the negotiations started to get heating up between Mikey Garcia and Manny Pacquiao. And then out of nowhere, we see Manny Pacquiao, Errol Spence fight come to fruition. As we know, Yordenis Ugas, who was elevated to the super champion, was in deep negotiations to face off against Errol Spence in a unification bout. Then we get the announcement of Errol Spence, Manny Pacquiao, okay? Now, again, like I said, that came out of nowhere, okay? Nobody expected to see that. And so, not even Mikey Garcia, apparently, because Mikey Garcia is not a happy camper. And now Mikey Garcia and his team, they are, taking Manny Pacquiao to court, okay? So May 21st is when we got the big announcement that Errol Spence and Manny Pacquiao are going to fight. But just 2 days prior to that, okay, you can see that Mikey Garcia, he did an interview just 2 days prior to that, and he was discussing and stating that he was in deep negotiations with Manny Pacquiao, and they were just working out some kinks, that they had to get out, and there was some wording in the contract he simply wasn't, happy with, and that he wanted to, he sent the contract back to Manny Pacquiao, and they were fixing it. They was going to make the adjustments, okay? And because of that, so you can go and check out Snow Queen LA. It's about a month ago. She did an interview with Mikey Garcia, and Mikey Garcia is talking about the negotiations between himself and Manny Pacquiao. Go to Snow Queen LA and you could check out the video in the interview with her and Mikey Garcia, in which Mikey Garcia is discussing, the plans to fight Manny Pacquiao and what's taking place and giving an update, okay? And Mikey Garcia, he states that they're in deep negotiations and sent over a contract, okay? Then we knew Errol Spence was in negotiations with August. This came out of nowhere, May 21st. So you can see a month prior to that, is when she did the interview. So with that said, now Mikey Garcia is taking Manny Pacquiao to litigation and saying that he's owed $3.5 million, okay, from Manny Pacquiao. And now he has to seek out and search for an opponent. So obviously, he wants to be compensated for his inconveniences. And on top of it, he wants to prevent the fight. He says that Manny Pacquiao should have to fight him because that was his focus, allegedly, okay? So his focus was fighting Manny Pacquiao. Now, what's funny is Mikey Garcia is on record. Now, we know Manny Pacquiao, Errol Spence is scheduled to take place August 21st. But Mikey Garcia is on record saying, well, if Manny Pacquiao fight doesn't come to fruition, if they can't iron out their differences in negotiations, then he'll go elsewhere. He's not going to sit around and wait for Manny Pacquiao forever. Now, I don't know if that's going to work against Mikey Garcia, because essentially you're saying that you're not going to sit on your hands and wait for Manny Pacquiao. You'll go elsewhere as well. Maybe Manny Pacquiao looked at the landscape and looked at the negotiations and looked at the contract and said, well, he's being fair enough. And Mikey Garcia wasn't happy with, the contract when Manny Pacquiao was. And Manny Pacquiao said, okay, I'll go elsewhere myself and get big money elsewhere, okay? Now, a lot of people are going to compare this to the situation between Olympic bronze medalist, former WBC American heavyweight world champion, superstar boxer Deontay "The Bronze Bomber" Wilder, and his arbitration with undefeated two-time heavyweight world champion, British superstar boxer Tyson the Gypsy King Fury, which is completely different because Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder, well, they had a contract already signed, sealed, and ready to be delivered for a trilogy match before they even went into their highly anticipated rematch that took place in February of 2020. Okay, so they already had everything squared away. It was already agreed upon. The difference was Tyson Fury and the boxing world said that they saw enough of Deontay Wilder Tyson Fury fights, and they were ready to move on to to an undisputed match with fellow countryman, two-time unified heavyweight world champion, British superstar boxer Anthony Joshua. And they started to shift all their focus to Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury, All UK Undisputed Showdown, and ignored the fact that he already had a contract signed that he signed his signature on for a trilogy match with Deontay Wilder prior to they even having a rematch, okay? So they have long agreed to a trilogy match, win, lose, or draw in the second fight, and Tyson Fury was trying to maneuver around it. In this case, Mikey Garcia is admitting that Manny Pacquiao hadn't signed, and that he hadn't signed because he stated that he sent back the contract. He wasn't happy with the wording. And when he stated this, just a day later, we got the announcement of Errol Spence, Manny Pacquiao. So you can see that Mikey Garcia is saying that, he signed his portion. He didn't sign his portion of the contract, okay? So you can hear Mikey Garcia clearly stating he has not signed his portion of the contract. Mikey Garcia is going to tell you here, I'm going to let you hear this. Mikey Garcia is going to say he did not sign his portion of the contract. He had a few okay offers. They're crossing their fingers and hoping that they get a deal done, but he hasn't signed his portion of the contract. He says that Manny Pacquiao has a lot of people on his team. He says you talk to one person, you get one answer. You talk to another person, you get another answer. So Mikey Garcia is admitting that he hadn't signed his portion of the contract. So I don't understand how Mikey Garcia is trying to hold up the Errol Spence Manny Pacquiao fight when he, just the day before, does an interview and says he did not sign his portion of the contract, and essentially he wasn't happy with the wording and what was being offered. So he stated that he had his fingers crossed, and they're hoping that they get it across the finish line. But essentially, he did not sign his portion of the contract, okay? So if he didn't sign his portion of the contract, then why is he taking Manny Pacquiao to court? Listen to what Mikey Garcia had to say.
What's going on with you and Pacquiao? Are we going to see it?
I mean, we hope so. We're still holding our, crossing our fingers for it. It's not there yet. It hasn't happened. It hasn't gotten done. We've been going back and forth. He's got a lot of people on his team, and some give me one answer, some give me another answer, and it's complicated. I've had a few proposals, but nothing exciting. Nothing as exciting for me to sign. Good, decent.
So you heard what he said. We had a few proposals, but nothing that moved me to sign the contract. So Mikey Garcia is admitting he didn't sign the contract. That was the day before we got the announcement of Errol Spence and Manny Pacquiao. So maybe Manny Pacquiao decided, listen, this is not working out. He's asking for too much money or asking for too many, things in the contract. Okay. And I'm not willing to do so. Let's go elsewhere. That's what it sounds like to me. So, Mikey Garcia is taking this to court. He's trying to prevent Errol Spence Manny Pacquiao fight. A lot of people is going to compare it to Deontay Wilder Tyson Fury when it's completely different. So let's see how this unfolds and plays out. That's all I got for y'all. Make sure you hit the like button. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue, Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button. Hit the bell icon to get all the new notifications. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to New Media. Shout out to Black Media Row. Make sure you like your shitty videos. That's all I got for you. Peace.
This is Amanda, the real Dio Serrano, and you're watching Blue Blood Sports TV.